Hello, everyone, I am Park. Today, we will continue discussing family affection. Many young parents, especially after having a child, hope that their child can grow up healthy. Therefore, they often buy the best formula supplements and other products for them. Firstly, it is understandable and natural for parents to have this kind of sentiment, and everyone can comprehend it. What we want to discuss is that you also need to pay attention to your child's nutritional balance. It's not about supplementing them with as much as possible. Nutritional excess is not beneficial for children. My suggestion to all new parents is to consult a pediatrician and have a comprehensive examination of your child. If your child does not have any nutritional deficiencies, there's no need to forcefully provide supplements. Excessive supplementation can lead to nutritional imbalances, which is not ideal for your child's health. This is just advice from a medical perspective. When it comes to children's belongings like clothes and toys, many parents tend to choose expensive options. However, it's important to consider that children grow quickly and their needs change rapidly. Expensive items may end up being used only briefly before becoming unnecessary. Therefore, young parents should be thoughtful in their choices and avoid wasteful spending. Early education for children is primarily about parents leading by example. Children observe and imitate their parents' behavior from the very beginning of their interaction. This imitation is one of the initial behaviors of a child. Although a significant portion of this behavior is unconscious imitation, we need to be particularly cautious and attentive during the period from 2 to 3 years old, as it is a crucial developmental stage. From a vast amount of practical experience, I have concluded that the period between 2 and 3 years old is crucial for children. During this time, we as parents need to help our children develop good life habits, as these habits can potentially impact their entire lives. We must pay special attention to this aspect. There is a popular saying, at 3 a child shows what they will be, and at 5 they show what they will become. This means that by the age of 3 you can already observe some aspects of a child's future, such as their thoughts and behaviors, and the most critical factor here is their life habits. So I believe that the real enlightenment education for a child happens between the ages of 2 and 3. During this period, as parents, we should start taking this matter very seriously. Generally, by the age of 3, children do not have many established behaviors or thoughts. Therefore, the most crucial aspect during this time is their life habits. If we instill good life habits in them at this stage, it will be highly beneficial for their future development. Between the ages of 3 and 5, most children in urban areas typically attend kindergarten. After starting kindergarten, children are exposed to a new environment where everything seems fresh and exciting to them. It is entirely normal for children to be curious and exhibit a sense of wonder. As parents, there is no need to deliberately intervene or do anything specific during this period. I believe it is unnecessary and of little significance. Once children start attending kindergarten, it brings forth several issues. Firstly, there may be a tendency among children to compare themselves with others. They might compare things like the appearance of clothes, the attractiveness of toys, the variety of snacks, the family's car, living conditions, and so on. As parents, we need to pay attention to these aspects. Why? Because this primitive sense of comparison stems from societal influences, which can be termed a sense of honor. However, for many children, this is a desire for self-expression. As parents, if we fail to provide proper guidance during this period, it may have a lasting impact on the child's life. A child's tendency to compare, sense of honor, and desire for self-expression are all normal psychological activities for children during this period. These behaviors are part of the normal developmental expressions for children at this age, so there is nothing to be overly concerned about. The real challenge lies in how parents can guide their children towards the right path during this period. This is the crucial aspect of being a parent. When children interact with other children, they are essentially entering the outside world. In this new social setting, no one treats them the same way as parents do, because everyone is considered equal. During this period, children's interactions with each other are simple but direct. For instance, they may compare who has better snacks, clothes, cars, or bigger houses. Therefore, the mindset of children during this phase is extremely important, as it can be quite fragile. As parents, it is crucial to protect and guide them properly. If parents fail to do so, children may easily develop troublesome feelings of envy and jealousy. The reason for emphasizing this is that the psychological changes that occur during this period can have a profound impact on a child's future life. Of course, there are also some children during this period who may not want to display such behaviors, or in our words, appear unsociable or willing to interact with other children. These children are generally considered introverted, withdrawn, or may have some issues. As a result, many parents become concerned and seek medical advice or treatment, and this is entirely understandable and a normal phenomenon. During this period, children may display various issues such as demanding things, being disobedient, and behaving freely without any sense of norms or understanding of laws and morals. As parents, the best approach is to patiently guide them. Many parents use various disciplinary methods during this time, but their effectiveness may be limited. Whether you scold, criticize, or punish them, how much can they absorb? Therefore, the best education for children during this period is to slowly persuade and guide them, avoiding the development of a rebellious attitude towards parents. Additionally, children during this phase are naturally curious, and they will have many questions. Parents should carefully consider how to answer these questions and how to make their answers acceptable to the child. This is an essential process that all parents must go through. During this period, the most common issues arise not with the children themselves, but with the parents, especially after children start attending kindergarten. Parents may exhibit several problematic behaviors. Firstly, parents often develop a comparative mindset. They constantly compare their children with other kids, friends, and relatives' children, and those around them. This can lead to a sense of competitiveness. Consequently, regardless of whether their child is receptive to it, they start adding various extracurricular activities such as arts, music, and musical instruments. During this period, some parents tend to overlook their child's feelings and adopt the mentality that forcing the child to learn is enough. However, this phase is precisely when a child's thinking patterns begin to form. While some children may have a genuine interest in these activities, others may not share the same passion. They might even have a sense of resistance. Many parents, in response, resort to using forceful methods, threatening language, or actions to coerce their children. The question that needs to be addressed is whether it is necessary to force children into these activities during this phase. To put it bluntly, not many people have thought about this question seriously. In the theory of the big tree thinking model, I particularly emphasized a form of thinking called analogical reasoning. Analogical reasoning is something that every person engages in. It's a simple and easy process of comparing things. However, when it comes to actually using analogical reasoning for argumentation or making comparisons, there are often many different fundamental conditions. As a result, this kind of comparison can lead to misguided conclusions and erroneous thought patterns. So comparing your child with other children in a simple and one-sided manner involves many factors, including the abilities, qualities, and conditions of you as the parents. We cannot overlook these fundamental elements and simply compare the child with others, as it is neither scientific nor fair. It is unfair to the child. Therefore, during this period, as parents, you may have a comparative mindset, but please be objective and realistic in your reasoning. You should consider whether the demands and conditions you set for your child can be realistically combined with their abilities. Understand your child's characteristics and fully promote and develop their strengths rather than suppressing them. Forcing your child to compare and compete with others, demanding that they surpass others, and imposing such simple expectations on them can often harm their entire life. Another phenomenon that arises during this period is letting them be, where parents do not intervene or restrain their children's behavior outside the home. This phenomenon is more prevalent in relatively impoverished countries or regions where parents lack the concept of actively educating their children. They adopt a laissez-faire approach, allowing their children to develop without much guidance. Consequently, many children from impoverished areas do not develop good habits and behaviors, which can have a significant impact on their entire life. Of course, there are no specific government regulations or laws that dictate how parents should educate their children. Because of this, we often witness an awkward phenomenon in society known as the poor get poorer. This situation is prevalent in certain regions or countries and is one of the fundamental reasons for their poverty. The lack of proper education and guidance for children in these areas perpetuates the cycle of poverty and exacerbates the socio-economic disparities. We often say that the hope for the the development of a nation, a country lies in education. However, due to the lack of attention, education in poor countries is deteriorating, and this habit of neglect has continued for decades, allowing the situation to worsen. Think about it. In such circumstances, what will become of those children when they grow up without good habits? Can they excel in their studies without diligence, critical thinking, and a proper education? How can they perform well academically? Schools may fulfill their basic obligations, but who will be there to provide extra classes and education specifically for your child? It's simply impossible and unrealistic. With so many children facing such challenges, no teacher or school can manage to address all their needs, resulting in a vicious cycle. This is one of the many root causes of poverty in many countries. In another aspect, due to the close relationship between children and their parents during the first 3 years from birth to kindergarten, many parents may develop a sense of overindulgence towards their children. They tend to fulfill all of their children's desires and wishes using the excuse that the child is still too young to understand. However, such actions often lead to unintended consequences and do not contribute to the child's true development or learning. Just imagine if we allow our children to develop a sense of self-centeredness from a very young age. As they grow older, they will become accustomed to this mindset. Their demands will keep increasing, and they will continuously test the boundaries set by us, their parents. In the end, they may resort to any means necessary to achieve their goals. So indulgence is like a tomb for a child's development. As parents, you must recognize this point. Of course, many parents feel helpless at times because the child's grandparents, both maternal and paternal, also indulge the child unconditionally without principles or boundaries. This is a frightening phenomenon. As parents, you must resist this indulgence because once it becomes a habit, you know the consequences. As young parents, when you have children, your minds must be clear and understand what truly benefits your child. Indulgence can harm their entire life, just like an incorrect education method can do. Therefore, the true cultivation of a child must be rational and reasonable. You need to conduct a comprehensive analysis of your child and also assess how much help and education you can provide. You must continuously improve your abilities, otherwise you will soon realize that you cannot control or discipline your child. At that point, you will know which path your child is likely to take in the future. You know what lies ahead for them, and you understand the road they will eventually travel. So responsible parents must first improve their clear thinking patterns, and then they can discipline their children. Only when you have a clear and precise understanding of how your child should develop will you be able to truly help your sons and daughters. Don't look for any excuses for yourself. It's pointless. Don't use laziness as an excuse. Don't say you're too old to learn and so on. Everyone knows you are an adult. No need for further explanations. Let me talk about the mindset changes of the older generation as grandparents. First of all, as grandparents, when they have grandchildren, they appear to be very caring because they haven't had obedient children around them for a long time. Their excessive doting is a way to fill an emotional void. As parents, when you grow up and stop obeying them, they lose the sense of authority or the feeling of giving orders. They lose a certain dignity, and as a result, they show excessive love and affection toward their grandchildren. This doting is a way for them to fulfill their emotional needs that have accumulated over a decade or even more. It allows them to regain the feeling of being respected and listened to when they interact with their grandchildren. Frankly speaking, this is one of the common mindsets observed in many grandparents. Another mindset of grandparents is the desire for the continuation of the family lineage. As grandparents, they also have a strong comparative mindset, comparing themselves with neighbors, colleagues, relatives, etc. If someone doesn't have grandchildren, they may feel inferior or embarrassed. Such a mindset is not uncommon. They do show affection and care towards their grandchildren, and they indeed have this affection. However, what I don't understand is why many grandparents, despite their love for their grandchildren, choose to be indulgent and give the children whatever they want. Why not take the opportunity to provide better education and guidance? There's a particular phenomenon where disagreements arise between grandparents and parents on how to educate their children. Grandparents often become unreasonable and stubborn, even comparing the current situation of the children with how things were during their own time and claiming that the children are much better off. This behavior can put parents in a difficult position, as they must show respect and filial piety to their elders while also wanting the best for their children. Many families face this dilemma and feel helpless in such situations. Many times, if we calm down and think about it, we may wonder why things have turned out this way. In essence, it's all about the changing mindset of these grandparents. This transformation is indeed quite alarming. This change in mindset, whether acknowledged or not by those who are grandparents, is an objective fact. Some people may oppose me for speaking about this, emphasizing the love and care of grandparents, but using love and affection cannot mask this change in mindset. It is more meaningful to acknowledge it and discuss it openly so that everyone can recognize and reflect on how to handle such situations. I believe this is a responsible attitude towards the children. In China, there has been a tradition for thousands of years that children should not criticize their parents' mistakes. This seems to contradict the traditional virtue of filial piety. However, in reality, how does it work? By not speaking up or criticizing, does it demonstrate filial piety? This is a traditional practice of concealing the truth and turning a blind eye to reality. Many times, we may find it difficult to criticize our parents' mistakes, but that doesn't mean those mistakes don't exist. If we fail to recognize and address these issues effectively, how can we ensure proper education for the next generation? What will happen to the children of the next generation in today's society where it has developed to its current state? Is there still any meaningful significance in holding onto those traditional feudal thoughts, stubbornly adhering to so-called filial piety? How many people in reality can truly achieve this? Why do we have to live in such a hypocritical and deceptive environment? Why can't we be trustful and express our true feelings and thoughts from our hearts? Perhaps many young people nowadays don't quite understand the mindset of their parents or grandparents. With their unreasonable and authoritarian thinking, these conflicts will gradually surface over time, leading to various family disputes and interpersonal issues, especially concerning family relationships. I am explaining all of this here to address these conflicts. I am not advocating for you to criticize your parents, but rather to recognize their mistakes and shortcomings. That is the main point I want to emphasize. As young parents, their mindset also changes when they are newly married and without children. The husband and wife are equal partners. Sometimes the wife may even take charge of the husband, and the husband may accept it without any issues. It's about the roles and positions within the family, but there is no absolute obedience from either party after having children, especially during the early years. The child is still very young and dependent. The dynamics within the family may change. Some young parents may develop a sense of authority or an emperor mindset because the child can only follow their instructions. They feel that whatever they say must be executed by someone. Whether young parents acknowledge this or not, it's worth considering whether such a mindset exists. In some cases, many people, without realizing it, may develop this mindset during the early stages of parenthood, and unfortunately it continues to persist until the relationship with their children becomes strained and disharmonious. They might not even recognize how this mindset developed before having children. Their mindset may have been positive, but the presence of obedient children gradually leads to this change, which is a worrisome development. And let me tell you, this mindset driven by habitual thinking will gradually continue and may lead to different consequences in your children's lives. It can result in them making many intense decisions. However, how many young parents truly analyze and assess their mindset, behavior, and thoughts during this period? It's safe to say very few, if any, do. Why? Because traditional habitual thinking is at play. Some primitive thoughts have always been ingrained in our human thought patterns. Consequently, everything just goes with the flow and everyone believes themselves to be right. However, if we truly dissect and discuss these thoughts, are they correct? Not so. In all my discussions, I have been addressing this issue specifically for you young parents. After having children, don't assume that life as major events have come to an end, and don't think you can be carefree and act like an emperor. It's not realistic. You will face more challenges. Here I won't delve into further analysis because it will still involve the issue of our parental mindset, leading to many conflicts. I will continue discussing this this in the following sections. In summary, creating a favorable learning environment and a positive mindset for your children starts from the very basics, as early as when they start understanding things around the age of 2. As parents, you must constantly examine your actions and language to ensure they align with the impact and education you want to impart to your children. This is crucial. Friends who are interested in my lectures, please click to subscribe and click on the little bell. At the same time, the links to the Big Tree Thinking Model Theory ebook and the Big Tree Thinking Model and Junior High School Mathematics lectures are here below. Friends can click on the link to watch related free lectures. Thank you all.